Hello, my most amazing artists. Today we are going to make our Jim Dine inspired hearts. So I'm going to show you how to do this. First, what we are going to do is you're going to need a pencil. Make sure you write your name and class code on the back of your paper. And then what you are going to start off by doing is you're going to draw a line. It is up to you what type of line. It could be a straight line. It could be a vertical line. It could be a diagonal line. It could be a wavy line. It could be a zigzag line. It could be a step line. It could be a line I didn't even mention. But what you're going to do is you're going to first draw one line. So pick one line type. So I'm going to do a step line. And I'm going to draw it from the bottom of my paper, or the top of my paper, to the bottom of my paper. Now, I am going to pick a second type of line. It's up to you what kind you want to do as well. This time, I'm going to do a loopy line. This is going to go diagonally, so it's going to start on one side of the paper and then end in the other. So this one I started on the left side and ended on the right. Now we are doing one last line. And since my other two lines were pretty complicated, I'm going to go with a simple one for my last line. And this time I'm going to start from the right of my paper to go to my left. So I'm just going to do a diagonal line. There we go. My paper should not have any more lines drawn from one side to the other. What we're going to do is you're going to trace a heart. You can trace a heart or you can draw your own in the middle of your paper. I'm just going to draw my own, but if you don't want to do that, that is perfectly fine. So here is my drawing. It looks really confusing right now, but what we're going to do is we're going to color in just the heart at first using warm colors. Warm, yellow. Now it could be a light yellow or a darker yellow, orange, pink, red. You're going to use those colors to color in just your heart. Now, when you are coloring this in, I have different sections on my heart. So for example, I have this section here that I am tracing over. If you need to peel off some of these covers, you may, but please make sure that you throw it in the garbage and don't peel it off completely. So what I'm first going to do is I'm going to trace around that shape that I made with my lines. A shape is an element of art that is closed. So I have this wonky little shape here. And now I'm just going to color it in. Okay, now I'm going to get another warm color. I don't want to get the same one that I just did there because I don't want to use the same color there or I'm going to lose my shape that I made. And I'm going to trace over another shape in that area. Trace around the edges and then color it in. I'm going to continue doing this until I have the whole thing done. You should not be using the same colors next to each other or you'll lose your shape. It's always easier to trace around the edges first and then color it in just because that way you know the shape of your space or the space of your shape. There we go, Miss Miller. And you're going to color it in nicely. You should have one solid color in here. You should not be blending colors. If you want to make a new color, for example, I want to do this one here, yellow. Let's say I make a mistake. And I do this one here, yellow, but I already have that yellow shape there. Well, what I could do to fix that is I could take another color and color over top of that. So I'm making a new color in here. And if I don't like it and it's too similar to that, maybe I can take a little bit more yellow and go back over it a second time. And now it's definitely a new color that I created. Now you might notice while I'm working on this paper that I'm getting some bits of oil pastel, and what you should do is just tap it off because if I try to brush it off, I might smear all over my paper. So I'm gonna go ahead and color in my heart. Here I have my heart shape colored in with warm colors. Now I'm gonna do the background. The background, since you used warm on the foreground, you are going to use cool colors, so green, violets, and blues. You're going to do the same way you did the front of the picture, the foreground. Cool colors in the background, warm in the foreground or the front of it. And what I'm going to switch to is now neutral colors. Neutral colors are gray, white, black, and brown. pick one of the neutral colors that you're going to use. I think I'm going to use black just because black stands out the most for me. So I am going to trace over now all my lines that I drew at the beginning of the project. Hopefully you colored really nicely so that this works out well. And if you missed your line like I just did there a little, just go over it again a second time and nobody will know. And then the last thing you're going to outline will be your heart with your neutral color. Go over your heart more than once. You want this line to be thick, very thick. Right now, Miss Miller just has a thin line. So I'm gonna go over it now a second time, and I'm just gonna color it roughly like I'm doing here so that my line is now thick. Look at this side versus this side over here. Now the fun part, you're gonna take your finger, which is probably already dirty from the oil pastels. If you don't wanna get your fingers dirty, you can wipe a paper towel around it, and you're gonna smear or smudge that thick line that you just did. And you can smudge it the way the line goes and pull it out a little to make it even thicker, or you can like press up like I'm doing in some areas, or down to pull the line out. It's up to you. And have fun, my most awesome artist.